I'm back in here today on our southern public land unit and hunting in a spot that I've never hunted before. Jensen and I have kind of scouted this area real quick when we've been doing some shed hunting, but looked at the map, picked out a transition area, and that's where I'm going to head. I think it's more of some of these hardwoods, maples, cottonwoods type stuff that kind of connects and changes into some of that horsetail kind of swampy ground. So that's where I'm headed. Going to go up there, kind of still hunt through some of this stuff and look for some sign. It'll be an ag field probably 200, 250 yards away from where I'm going to be setting up. I'm expecting that's where the deer are going to be going this evening. I'm going to get a little bit closer to the bedding, hunt this new spot, see what happens. Well guys, I'm filming this on my phone right now and whispering really quiet. That's probably why you can't hear me very well, because there is a buck about 70 yards in front of me. As I was still hunting my way in here, I was walking kind of in the water on the edge of the river. I took a step up in here and something jumped up and started and blew a couple times. I hit a knee real fast and looked up, and like running at me is a nice buck. And he stopped right up here, and now I got film of him. He was just standing there eating. Needless to say, I'm stuck here for now. And I know I didn't spook him, one, because he's still standing there. And then two, when I spooked him, he ran at me. It's a nice buck from what I can tell, a 4x4. A shooter in my book, and that's all that matters. So I'm stuck here for the rest of the night, and he's right up here, so I gotta be real quiet. 4:30 right now. That buck was out here in front of me probably about 70 yards the whole time here for about the last hour or so. He milled around out there and then started walking back this way. Got out here in front of me, still at about 60, 70 yards or so. My guess is he turned and went that way. He's headed out towards that field. That's where this summer I filmed, I think it was 2 or 3 really nice bucks and velvet out there eating on those beans. That's kind of the food source I think that the deer in this area are going to. And then I was sitting here trying to find that one again, and another doe came running through back here across the river, and then just right now she was right out here in front of me, kind of going that way. Tomorrow I'll probably be right up here in one of these trees, waiting for that buck to come back. He was just bedded right up here. He's not a real big buck, but big enough for me, and I think it'd be pretty cool to come back here, hang over his bed, and kill another one after we kind of bumped it. So I'll probably be right back in here tomorrow morning. Came back in here this morning to sit near where, when I was still hunting, I bumped that buck. It's been a couple days, waited for the right wind, came back in this morning, didn't see anything, but I moved around my stand about 50 yards just to get back in here a little bit deeper and found some really good buck bedding, real obvious stuff that you can use to learn, and it's a really good buck bedding for teaching. So I'm going to show that to you right now. The first stuff I wanted to show you was the rubs that are in here on all these trees. You can see a fresh rub on this tree. You look at that tree right there, there's fresh rubs on it as well. There's a really good tree somewhere in here. Yeah, if we look, we'll go back over here and I'll show you that stuff. So that's the first thing, is all the rubs that are in here. And obviously, they're not on scrape lines. So if you're walking through the woods and you just find kind of random rubs in places, so you're like, why the heck is there a rub here? It's probably buck bedding. And that's what this is. There's just a whole bunch of them. So I'll show you the rest of those. And then the main thing that tells me that the bucks are in here a lot is like just all the kind of habitat destruction that's right here in this area. So if you look right here, we'll see all this horsetail is all matted down. You can see it's been browsed a lot, but the biggest thing has just been matted down. And right here, you can see that dirt. That's not a scrape, that's the bed where he's just been clearing dirt away from his bed. So there's not stuff down there. All that horsetail again's been browsed. So that's one bed right here for that buck. There's another right underneath this tree. There's some old rubs on these trees. And then again, we have another bed right here underneath this cedar tree. And you can see right here, fresh rubs, old rubs, they bed here a lot. And we'll move up this way just a little bit farther. And you can see right here, this is an old rub from last year. Then when you look on this side, you have a fresh rub from this year. And then if you look right there, there's another bed. And the reason rubs correlate with buck beds is that if you find a bed and there's a rub in it, obviously a doe's not making that bed. But bucks will stand up in their beds during the day, make rubs on those like during the rut and stuff, and sometimes probably just to do it when they stand up, browse around, make some rubs. So almost every one of these beds has a rub in it. So that's the correlation between rubs and buck beds. Like I said, there's also like 4, 5, 6 beds right here in this area, which tells me that the buck is using it pretty much on any wind. It doesn't really matter. He can just shift around if he wants to. So when I found this, I decided all this stuff is so fresh. There's so many buck beds. You can tell they've just been in all year long. I decided to put my tree stand right there in some pretty good cover. I mean, I can cover every single one of these beds. He comes back in here to bed down, we're going to be able to get a shot at him. So I'm going to get out of here, stop making noise, stop walking around these beds. Should be a good spot though. All these beds, all these rubs, you can tell they're fresh and you can tell they've been in here a whole lot. So be back in here tomorrow. Hopefully he comes back. I think it's going to happen right here, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to get out of here, come back in here tomorrow.